This is an updated controller settings guide for the new Season 1 of Marvel Rivals. I'll show you all of these setting changes I've made to allow you to fine-tune your aiming so you can have the smoothest experience possible so that you can hit your shot. We'll even go over the settings for the new Crosshair you see on screen, as well as taking a dive into Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman's combat settings. At the end of this guide, I guarantee those dive DPS or dive vanguards will no longer hit you from the back, at least without a challenge, that is. So welcome to the best controller settings for Season 1 Marvel Rivals. Let's get started. We'll first dive into, We'll first dive into the settings. We're going to scroll over to controller and then the combat tab. Now for both our horizontal and vertical sensitivity, we've actually increased this to 450 each. You might think this is high, and maybe your first game or two it'll feel a little bit awkward, but just give it some time. I'm telling you, it'll take a bit to get used to. But like I said before, nobody's hitting you from the back ever again. How you like that, Black Panther? If we now open up the advanced tab, we of course kept it on linear curve, which allows you to have a consistent boost with your aim sensitivity. This just keeps everything nice and smooth, so you're not getting these random boosts of speed. Next is our minimum and maximum input dead zone, and for both of these we have 1 and 2 respectively. I would first try out these settings, and if you feel like your stick is drifting too much, you can always bump it up a bit. So this setting you're going to have to play around with. Our max dead zone sensitivity boost is going to be at 1 as well. This is a setting that adds extra boost to the horizontal sensitivity, and since it's already high, we don't need to increase this boost because all it's going to do is throw off our aim. Now shout out to the people that swap their left and right sticks or invert their horizontal or vertical look. We are not a part of that group. But if we go down to the aim assist window size, we're going to be keeping this at 20. Now I'll bump this down from my previous video because as you can see, as the target moves by, that aim assist window is slowly kind of tracking it. With that smaller window, you still get a bit of tracking, but it's not going to pull you all the way from left field onto the target. This will help your aim keep a little bit more steady. We then have aim assist strength and projectile hero aim assist ease in all the way at 100. Now the PC version and the console version are a little bit different. So with the PC version, it's a little bit toned down. That's why we keep it at 100. And then for that projectile hero aim assist ease in, this only affects certain heroes. And the higher you set this ease in, the smoother that assist will be. So if you're using projectile based heroes, this is going to be a very important setting to keep in mind. You can always fine tune your heroes as well, so you can change that setting for specific characters only, just in case it's throwing your other character's gameplay off. Next is for the hit scan heroes aim assist. We have this one at 70, and kind of the same as the projectile heroes, it affects only the hit scan heroes. So the higher the number, the smoother that assist will be. Now you can play around with this 70 number, either adjusting it higher or lower. You're just going to have to get that feel in game. And then we have the melee hero aim assist, which we've kept a little bit lower, and the same as those last two settings, they affect the melee based characters. We've set this to a lower value because melee attacks are basically instant hits, so this should help you reliably hit a few more melee hits. Next we'll go over how to make this same crosshair I have. While still in this combat tab, under the HUD menu, we're going to have the reticle type as crosshairs. Then we're going to need to open up the advanced tab. So you can copy all of these settings I'm about to go through, or if you're on PC, I'll leave the crosshair code down below in the description. You will just need to copy and paste that code by going to this import save button and then entering that code you find below. So under details, we have that dot width at 10, that crosshair width at 25, and then our opacity is at 100. Now that was specifically for the crosshair portion. Going down further, we have 100% for both opacities for the crosshair and dot. Our dot outline we currently have at 80, and then our crosshair outline width we have at 90. Moving on down to the outline opacity, we have this at full strength for both, because that bold stroke of that black outline, to me at least, makes the reticle stand out a bit more. It doesn't get lost in the sauce of all that action. Under blur, we don't have any dot or crosshair blur. Our crosshair radius is at 20, our crosshair length at 10, and then our crosshair angle is at 45. This crosshair angle is what's rotating that crosshair, and 45 is kind of that sweet spot to give it a unique look. And if an enemy is right in the center of that, you ain't missing. And then of course we have blue set as a color. Green stands out pretty well as well. I really haven't tried yellow, but red and white I know gets pretty lost in the sauce. So these are the settings for the reticle, and remember I'll be pasting this code down below just in case you want to use this. Now we'll step into the settings of Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic. While in the combat tab, we can change our hero, so make sure Invisible Woman is chosen, and if we scroll down a bit, you'll see this healing reticle feedback. If this is off, you'll have your standard default healing, which of course looks like this. But if we switch it on, you now get this green crosshair effect notifying you that you're hitting your target. So every time you're supplying heals to your teammates, that small green effect will appear. Now this is definitely pretty optional, but it's a little bit more feedback to yourself to know that you're actually supplying those heals. If you do like this setting though, you can apply this to all the healers. You just need to individually go into their settings and choose it. Now we'll dive into Mr. Fantastic. In his combat settings, you have targeting sensitivity for his distant grip, as well as flexible elongation. By default, these are set at 100. What this affects is the targeting range of that skill. So at 100%, your targeting will look like this, and once you click that skill, you'll be able to do your attack. If you instead bump these down a bit, just like this, you'll need to get a lot closer for that targeting to take effect. So if you know you're pretty precise in your aiming, you could have this down at 0. The lower you can have this sensitivity at, the more precisely you'll be hitting your abilities. So in situations where you have 2 teams of 6 on the point, your invisible woman is about to die, and you need to hit that shield on her to protect her, you have a little bit more precision in your actions. So definitely play around with these settings to see what fits you the best. I think 100 is a little bit too high. My ability could hit any of these 2 robots, but by fine-tuning it a bit, which I think 20 is a pretty sweet spot, you will be a lot more precise. And there's a few other heroes that have similar settings when it comes to sensitivity, so definitely take a look at some of the characters that you use to see if you need to fine-tune those settings as well. Hopefully you found this updated controller's guide for Season 1 of Marvel Rivals helpful. If you didn't particularly find these settings that you're looking for, you should definitely check out our previous guide, which has another set of controller settings you might like instead. If you want to see even more guides like this, make sure to like and subscribe. Until next time though, we'll see ya.